I was blessed to see, Sanders fight. I saw Norris on like his last fight. I saw Bennett fight as a brown belt for crying out loud.
So
To see those gifted people do their thing, and then of course, forms competitor, Bion, even Paulie Sank, all the legendary people do forms. It's like, wow, these people are. Whew, that was a good time period.
welcome to the Blood, Sweat, and Cinema podcast. I got Paul Dye here with me today, 10th Degree Blackbelt and one of the leading instructors in Ed Parker's American Kenpo. Mr. Dye, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you here. So let's start with a young Paul Dye.
Little league days. So
Okay.
8 to 12-year-old baseball fanatic. Um, about the same time, my father introduced me to the sport bowling, so I was pretty active in that. That goes all the way up to high school. So baseball through Little League, Pony League, the age group. Bowling, same thing, 50 games a day, every day at the bowling alley. And then in high school baseball, the high school where I was at ended up with some very good fellows. 4 of them ended up in the big leagues. They were very, very good. And I thought, maybe if I lay off that or concentrate more on the bowling. And what was different in those days, if you accepted money in any sport, you couldn't do amateur athletic. So my mom signed waivers and I started bowling for money and accepting money at probably 14, 15 years old. So at the high school baseball, really couldn't do that. So I kind of stepped out of the ball and, really kind of hunkered in with bowling. Quite a few friends, kind of like the martial art. You're just with a group of guys. And then the high school years, and then there was a year off before the college. Started school, and I didn't really have work per se. So I was like maybe like a drifter, sorta, but I lived in my car, so I was living in the car. A friend of mine, would let me kind of shower at his place and whatnot, and I had a '60 Chevy wagon with mattress in the back. I would be near the Covina area daytime and Seal Beach at night because you could actually sleep by the ocean without law enforcement. And then, the Bruce Lee movement, the films, ignited the martial art everywhere. So on the campus at Mount Sac, there was a club, non-institute club at the school, run by one Mr. Hebler's students, who was a student at the school. And a gal in one of my classes wanted me to take her over to where the club was, after hours, dark. Like, I need to really go bowl, but I'll walk you over there. I walk her over, and I kind of got yanked into the class, like sort of physical. Mr. Thompson actually grabbed me and pulled me in there. Said, "You're taking karate right now." Like, well, wasn't expecting that.
Who's Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Thompson was, if business wise, would have been like Mr. Hebler's studio manager, if you look at the hierarchy of it. In those days, I don't know how this commercial is now, but you would do if a prospective student would come in, which there was a lot at the time, and Bruce's films, I mean, it was enormous business. you would come in and you would sign up for an introductory program, and you would have one person teach the introductory program, and then you would meet Mr. Hebler, and he would kind of sell the packages to you, kind of like a business, kind of like the Murray schools, like everybody kind of knows. Jim kind of ran that, and then he also was kind of in charge of the curriculum and how it was to be taught. The instructor classes, Mr. Thompson kind of ran those. So he definitely started me on my journey. And it was just within a couple weeks, both him and Mr. Hebel wanted me to go to the studio. Like, you guys don't understand, but I'll have for zero. And we're not asking for money. We just want you to come and be with us and learn what we have. It's like, okay. And I was still afraid there was going to be money involved because I didn't have it. So I went on a Saturday, and Mr. Nibbler's studio was good size. Probably 30 black belts, give or take a few, and a few brown belts, and they're doing an instructor class. And I'm the only blue person in that was closed. Like, wow. And Mr. Elvis school is known for hitting, and they're hitting. Like, wow, this is pretty crazy. And then, they did the self-defense stuff. It's like, that's pretty crazy. I really didn't exactly know I was there except to watch. And then after everything's done, Mr. Hebler goes, I want you to start taking lessons here. It's like, okay. How's it work? He goes, I'll teach you. Jim's going to teach you. And hopefully soon after you'll start teaching for us. It's like, I didn't really know how that would work because you're a beginner. It's like, I don't know how that would work. So I had nowhere to go, right? I'm in the car. So, Jim's fired me out on a 7-day a week, 10 hours a day, just doing karate. It's like, I was very fortunate to have a person put in that kind of time. Luckily for me, I had the time. So it kind of worked out okay. Went right through the curriculum, and then it was on how to teach it.
Now, that curriculum at that time, was that 32 techniques?
32, where Parker was just kind of, I guess, the best way to put it, in converting, like maybe the curriculum that Chuck and Mr. Hebler had, let's say, those techniques to more what the practitioner would see sort of today. The curriculum was kind of mid-change. So Jim taught me all the old ones, the old scimitars, all those type things. And then at the same time, he goes, this is the new stuff. He goes, I want you to have the old stuff, and then here's going to be the new stuff. This is where I'm going to be teaching, but I want this for reference. So why Mr. Parker's kind of changing things. Like,
now, was the Big Red around at this point?
it was about 6 months from coming out.
Got it. So basically you learned, for lack of a better way of putting it, the old system and the new one at the same time.
And it was cool because just like last night I was teaching at home, you can, like what I present to the students, even like at Ira, wherever I go, it's like, we can talk about Mr. Parker forever, which everybody does. But, and I do also, but I really want people to try and understand how it came to be, the movement, like, how does Twin Kimono end up now? Well, you got to have a reference of where it was. So if you know the old one and you know the new one, then what happens is you can kind of tell your student what Mr. Parker is seeing. Like, he's looking at his practitioners do, let's say, the original Twin Kimono. He's watching them. He's not up there doing it with them. He's watching them. And then he sees things that please him or maybe put practitioner in harm's way, all those type things. Then it morphs into like what me and you would teach to Twinmono. So the student then understands that Mr. Parker kind of went through phases just like me and you do. We go through phases of movement, of development. And usually what I kind of point out for the I guess the long and the short of it, in his mind, he thought things would be safer for basically underbelts. Jim Bennett can protect himself, Dave Hover can protect himself, but the reality is the material is actually for ranked students, like your student. Um, all those changes came basically, I would kind of assume from just watching and observing. Some really went seminars back in the day, but the belt testing, Mr. Parker will watch, he's looking, then you see change. The big red book, it was not out. Mr. Hebler and Mr. Parker were pretty close at the time, 72, pretty close. Mr. Parker came to the studio. I was a white belt, been there like a week or so. He came there, so they were business. You're white belt, you don't know, but business, not so much work, business. And some of those deliveries came to Mr. Hebler's studio. Like even the Insight books, those, of course, that's later down the line, but those books actually came to Mr. Hebler's studio in boxes.
So to back up a little bit, when you said it was changing from the old to the new, was it that just like you just basically said, modifications to a technique that kept you safer, or was it just totally new material? Also, or was it both?
Well,
And that was most of the new material. Was it techniques or were the forms like what was the material?
I don't know about forms. When we lose guys like Mr. Planis, that's a big hurt because, he knew so much about, the structure and the content of what we teach our students. The techniques, you have a complete outage of material. Then we have modification. There was modification like between one and modifieds. And then all of a sudden there were new ones that were added, like the handshake type technique theories, right? So there was changes on all three fronts. So at home, I don't probably have any of my black belts that don't know the original curriculum, because original curriculum is good. It will hurt people. So instead of teaching those to the beginners, you teach them more to the intermediate and advanced, because their hitting power is hopefully more credible. And if you just put another tool in the toolbox, you can use it, right? By that time, of course, my students understand the changes and everything. It's just, these are highly explosive moves, very short. Like the old guys do as a techniques. Five sword was actually very long. It was a long sequence. Like five hooves. Like it was a longer sequence. Some on 2 or 3 moves and end of story. Which of course, in those fellows, if they were to look at a school like where the students learn all the extensions to techniques, their minds would probably be pretty blown, because they were used to real short things. Next thing you know, there's like 25 moves on a technique. It would look pretty weird if you went back that far to just open your eyes and saw that. But that's how sport works. A football player in the 1940s definitely wouldn't have the complex offenses of the NFL today. It's just how sport works. And in our sports, just evolving and evolving, and mostly good directions, because guys have talents, they have opinions, their skill. And It's pretty cool stuff.
So your first instructor was Mr. Hebler. Did you get your black belt under Mr. Hebler? Your first black belt? Or like how does, so you're in this school, Mr. Hebler school, you know the old system, you're learning the new system. What happened? Where do you end up and how do you move forward through the ranks?
Okay, what happened is that we had Elvis made a couple stops at Mr. Hebler's studio, worked out with him a couple times. He was definitely he was like a little boy.
Did you meet Elvis?
Yeah, worked out with him 2 or 3 times.
Very cool.
But I think what people didn't understand is he was infatuated the same as everybody else in the United States. Everybody was just infatuated with what we see on a screen, right? And you had, I mean, I could see it. It's like you look beyond what he is. Like, you have to look past what he is when he's standing there. And then you realize he's idolizing you just like you idolize him when he's on a stage. He just wants to learn what you know and be like these guys. It's like when you started and I started, right? So then there was talk about Mr. Hebel maybe going to do the bodyguarding for Elvis and then closing the studio. And that happened like within a couple months. So it wasn't really a rumor. Those fellows had actually talked about it and, away they go. At the time, Mr. Hebler would have been 40-ish. And then, I'm 18. So there's, a little bit age difference. And then Mr. Thompson really didn't have anywhere to go. So he kind of went that direction with the bodyguarding stuff, but really then ended up with Elvis. He ended up with Tanya Tucker and running her ranch down south in the south part of the United States. That left me with no teacher. Like, well,
And what happened to 30 black belts?
just dissipated. Just dissipated. It would be just like you closing your door and locking it. People have lives. You got to do what you got to do. So my intent was just go back to rolling out. Like, I'm good. It's like that. I learned stuff, fun stuff. I was blessed to have this magnificent teacher, but they're gone. So go roll. So, of course, technically there is no phones technology is different. But within a couple of days, there was a knock at my door. Me and Patty had found a rental. So we're in a rental house from a friend of mine. There's a knock on the door, and it's one of the boys who was at the studio. Like, that made no sense to me. Like, how would he even know where I live? Like, how is this possible? Like, right? And he was in either last year of junior high or first year of high school. And it's a knock at the door. And as the door, he goes, "Can you teach me karate?" Like, as Slim Jordan's face. Yeah, I'm good. Came back next day. He actually rode his bicycle from his school to our house. You're my teacher. Like, I need to do karate. Goes to Orange State. Wasn't really interested. Day 3, same guy. Like, dude, you're like a nightmare. It's like, you don't go away. He goes, "I wouldn't know where to go. You have to help me." And he was serious. It's like, wow. Like, I said, "Okay. So tomorrow, bring your bike and we start." So, I opened up the home And he rode his bike. He was right on time, and he brought a friend. He goes, "Can you teach my friends?" Yes. Yeah. And he was my private student at Mr. Hebler's studio, so I knew him, right? So, yeah, we start, and this is back in the day where, these guys want to fight more than you do short one. They're teenagers. They're into that stuff. So, it was basically shin pads and pads, and in those days you didn't have pads, just bare knuckle, and you had these goofy little shin pads, white things, and knock heads. And then we started going through curriculum, and then there was so much interest because of the films. People would CSAs come over. It was what it was, right? So I ended up having to clean out the garage because there were too many guys. So we clean out garage. That was how the garage idea started. Was from that fellow knocking on my door. That is Dave Thompson.
I was going to ask you next, who's that individual?
He's the guy.
And who was the friend?
Dave Topel. And they were best friends from 5 years old going up in their lifetime. And then Dave Topel, he stepped out because he got hired by LA County Fire Department, and job takes priority. So his life has to go a little different direction.
So from the day this private student of yours is knocking on your door, what year are we talking about here?
73.
73. So Dave Thompson been with you 53 years.
And that's legit. What would you say?
One of the nicest individuals you can meet.
Correct.
The kindest, good-spirited individual, gentle giant.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys. He's very gentle, a very nice person, but
Yeah, but don't be on the other side.
yeah, people really don't think he can roll, right?
He did. I was in Jeff Speakman's technique line in 1999 at his Las Vegas camp, and they were swapping up the lines, and I ended up behind Dave Thompson. I didn't know it was Dave Thompson. He said, "I'm Mr. Thompson," or what, I said, "James," but we didn't know each other. And I don't remember the technique. I think it may have been thundering hammers. And it was totally controlled as it is. But I remember thinking, this guy can do damage. You could feel the force. Of course, he was not delivering the force, but he used a little kind of controlled fashion. But I remember thinking the nicest guy,
Very nice.
but a big man. And when he did that technique, and we bang, I just went, okay, he's a nice individual. But so that's 73.
Yeah.
And is that the birth of the garage?
Yeah. Not where I'm at now, but the idea
of the garage.
Right. As we pass this little strip mall, it's like I see in a flash, I see Kenpo sign and Ed Parker's Cadillac. And we start to go past the strip mall. Jim goes, we need to make a stop first. Like, okay. And we pull in the strip mall, and it's Fred Brewster's school.
Got it.
Like, let's stop in here for a minute. Then I see Dave Hebler's car. It's like, what's going on here? Let's go in, check it out. So we go in, and
He already knows.
of course, everybody's, the big wigs are there, and Tony and Freddie, and Hebler, and what's going on? Jim goes, I've something I forgot to tell you. We're going to Disneyland after you test for Brown right now. I warn you. Nah. He goes, change up. Like, okay. Away we go. Like 5 guys testing, and it was the last golf test Mr. Hebler ran.
Before closing the school.
Yeah, he ran it.
So you had a panel of Dave Hebler, Freddie Parker, Fred Brewster.
A couple of guys I didn't know, probably friends of Mr. Brewster and Mr. Tarsfire.
Bit of an intimidating panel for you, right? To say the least.
To say the least. Mr. Hebler running it. Different, because guys got hurt.
Who were the 5 people testing with?
No idea. I changed, I changed, and I'm just like this. I'm nervous. You're a little guy. I think you just, and there's all these. This guy wearing a brown belt comes up to me. Goes, "Who are you?" Then things went strange. I go, you don't even need to ask that question. It's irrelevant. It was, think you're a tough guy? I don't know. Because where you from? I go, Hebler's Glendora. He just turned around and walked away. That's the reputation Mr. Hebler had. All you had to do is say Nick. He was gone, right? So belt test goes, and it was cool, because Dave was there and Jim was there and got Brown.
Did you get your graduation kick from Mr. Parker or Mr. Hebler?
You got it from everybody in those days, and those were somersault kicks, man.
What did the test consist of?
It was, the students now would hear like, they probably hear stories of the hour and a half of basics before you do anything else. It was one of those. Like, you're really doing almost an hour and a half of just basic movement and structured concept, which I don't think anybody does that anymore, but it's arduous. It's like,
Most people, I don't think, spend an hour and a half a month doing basics
No.
anymore.
and then it morphed right into the forms. And then, no, I don't know about nowadays, everybody's so different, but in those days, you would do the short ones as a group in front of Mr. Parker for the most part. So
Short one,
ones-
short two, short three.
Yes. And he did it for a reason. I actually asked him later as the years went by, like, why you do that? And then like, if you're going for form 4 for your, let's say, black, I did long straight brown. You did it by yourself. So then everybody could watch. After all that's done, then you go through the technique stuff. And I mean, I've been around at the start of that, us here now, but the hitting was heavier for sure, just in the technique line. And it would be different, like if you had 30 of your students here, they all know one another, like you're not going to hurt your friend. When it's an inter-school test, you don't really, the guy who's gonna, you don't really care.
So it's a different time period.
Yeah, plus parting wings is going to be a sternum buster because you don't like the guy. Like, it was kind of one of those. So the hitting was up there. Couple teeth disintegrated that day. There was some hitting. And then you went into the fighting. And then fighting, I don't know how folks do it now, but fighting in those days was about 90 seconds to 2 to 3 minutes, run by somebody in the center that would tell you to stop. And it was bare knuckle, barefoot type of stuff. And they really did want control. They really weren't looking for entries, because if you could control yourself, you show more respect than anybody just swinging at. And I mean, a guy in a bar can hit you. That means martial artist, that thing. And then the infamous kneel down and they would leave is kind of like most people do now with their students. But in those days, the guys who came back weren't afraid to tell you failed. Where nowadays, nobody really fails to say.
Is that where you got, because you were known for rock solid Kenpo, heavy, hard hitting, but controlled Kenpo. Is that where you got it from, or was this just something based on the way you are as a person, how you function? Or did you get it from those days?
The natural intent, the intent is probably just a gift of sport, the intent of it. The example of tenacity would have been from Mr. Hebler and Mr. Thompson, the idea, the tenacity of movement, the control of movement from both of them, because they could move very well. I mean, remember, you're a teenager, they're adult, but they could hurt you if they want to, nip you if they want to, or not touch you, but the violence was exactly the same. So you're kind of learning the control factor, I guess. But the intent was, it'd be like a pitcher. We don't know what it's like to throw a ball 90 miles an hour. We all know that. But what I really internally think is they have that same focus me and you do at our sport. The the intent of it, like, can't just throw a ball, relax. Like, there has to be, physical intent to do something like that. But I think it's maybe,
The principles are probably the same.
but I think all higher end athletics, you know, have an intent to the person, or the sport won't do what it does at the highest level. Usually, us, we're gifted, we're blessed to see sport at higher level, the LA Kings, basketball, baseball, whatever. There's no way you're going to hit a 500-foot home run and not be intent. The asshole twitting the muscle.
So, Mr. Dice, when you came through the ranks, was it white, yellow, orange, purple, blue, three browns, or was it still where it was less rank?
If you had more colored belts, then you can reward more and maybe keep more, like on a business perspective, where if you just have a white belt and a brown belt and a black belt, hard to retain students. I think he kind of understood that American culture, Americans or Western, we are pretty reward conscious society. So, you get kindergarten, you get grades on your report card, you're rewarded for your work. So maybe that was where he was seeing things going. But when I started, the colors were there. The white and the tip belts had passed. There were some guys that had just come out of that phase that I got to spar with, that came out of the white tip days. And when they saw colored belts, they were shocked because that was new to them. So kind of was telling, it's like, there's changing, things are changing, told me that. And then, kind of seeing curriculum morphing and changing a little bit. It's like, I'm going to be right at the front of it. It's like, it's changing. And then, of course, because of the film, it's like they're trying to make big business out of it, trying to make money out of it. And Mr. Hebler's school was successful. There were 400 paying students.
And that school was
in Glendora.
Glendora.
But 400 people is a lot of people. I mean, it was thriving, and I tell people now, it's like, you would literally have 30 to 50 phone calls a day, not a year, a day of inquiries. What are you guys? Because everybody's looking through. I know people don't know what a phone book is, but what Yellow Pages would have martial arts, and then the schools would be listed. They were just being new there, just going down the line, trying to find one. And you would try to get in the studio to do the intro and then to sell it.
So you got your brown belt in Anaheim under Mr. Hebler.
At Mr. Brewster's school.
On Mr. Brewster's school. And then, where and when did you progress to black belt?
Pasadena is where I'm going to go, because I had been going there on the Friday night sessions. So it's like, I'll just go there.
And when you were going to Pasadena for the Friday night sessions, who was teaching those sessions?
It was just the old Friday night line group.
And who were they?
That was Roger Meadows, Joe's Faria, and all the boys doing technique. That just gave me a place to go. I didn't go there for instruction, or, I didn't need that. It's like, I had all that. I just wanted a place to do stuff, with people and bodies, and, have at it, and, that's where I was going on Friday nights. And then right at the short time, Mr. Rainey, AC Rainey, he was at Mount Sac also. So within a short period of me starting, he came to this, the karate club, you know, what is this stuff? You step in here, boy, because it's the cool stuff. So he was on football teams, like, yeah, I'll do that. So he starts. And then when me and Patty found a rental, AC of the home. So we need to up our house names. We have a place to live. So we would basically do curriculum same time. He kind of, I would do Parker's with him, and then, he would go with the Sanders group with the VKF guys and kind of learn that side of the fence. And we just morphed it and put it all together and just kind of cross train and all of that. We're both wearing the brown belt. And then it was a Saturday, and then Mr. Parker was going to have a belt test at the Pasadena studio. Like, today's the day. So AC was sleeping on the floor and taking a nap.
So this time you knew about it ahead of time.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m.
It wasn't thrown on.
Yeah, I kicked him in the head. He wakes up, goes, "What's up?" I said, "Let's go." Where we go? We're gonna go have some fun. Grab your stuff. Let's go. So we drove past. He goes, "What's up?" Well, we're gonna test for black rain. How we do that? Just follow me. We'll be okay. So, in those days, you were supposed to have your teacher there. I mean, supposed to. And then we didn't have a. We jumped on the mat, and there was definitely a tension getter because people, they knew our teacher's not there. So some guys weren't happy. It was different.
Meaning the powers that be or people on the mat?
The powers to be.
Got it.
Like, and it actually, he took his green belt. I took my green belt. Our first brown belts made their brown the day we made flag, which was pretty cool. At the same time, standing right behind us, in front of Mr. Parker. I mean, that was pretty cool. So, the guy running the test, but he needed to step off the mat. Teacher's not here. Okay.
Who was running the test? Okay.
Is your hearing okay? Yeah, hearing's just fine. Because you need to step off. We need your teacher present. That's good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm just like, he doesn't know what to do.
Well, Mr. Parker's already told you you're testing.
No.
Oh, so you just turned off?
Yeah. Okay, got it. But he's, Mr. Parker's in his normal chair. I go, "Excuse me." Are we good? Mr. Parker goes, "He's good."
He had seen witnessed your brown belt test.
So Mr. Rainey's right here on my left. This guy goes to him, says, "Your teacher's not here either." He is. He's pointing to me. I go, "We good now?" We're good. Oh, we went. That's fun stuff. Boards were very small compared to nowadays. We could have testing board big, NOS. Viruses, the guys, compared to, in the 80s, by the time Mr. Parker would have the international belt test Thursday before that day, it'd be 30 guys, 40 guys, that type. It wasn't. It's kind of but you did go through the full workout, the hour and a half of basic movement, the form application, and that. The on this side of the map was, well, actually not during the test, but during promotion. Larry Traden was here, Frank was over here. They were just brown belts at the time, so they were kind of watching our belt test. Yeah, then got black.
And that was when?
74.
74. And who was tested on that test with? So yourself and Mr. Rainey got blacks together?
Yeah, we got black. There was Larry Fry, Charmaine Fry. I like remember. And then there was a few of the fellows going to brown from the green. Like it says, they weren't as large because it's grown. Like, like when you look at the family tree, I mean, you see just, now there's like 200,000 black belts. I mean, it's just grown in such a big way.
So now
Wasn't that many. But
your entire family are all black belts, and your grandkids, and so on. So when you met your beautiful wife, Patty, how did you guys meet, and was she into martial arts, or was that something you said, come on, we got to do this?
Oh, no, not enough. I met her through two mutual friends. They were bowlers. And she was working at a restaurant. They took me to a restaurant. I could really care less. I was focused on so much sport. I don't need a girl. I don't need anybody. It's sports. Like, that's it. So, of course, she thought, I don't know what she thought, but she knew I was a very quiet, not nice person. So they just hit, this is Paul, this is Patty. I just ignored her. It's like, I'm just tunneled in there. And then the three of us became really good friends. There was a couple of friends of mine and her at school, the first year of college. Not sad. We became pretty close friends, just friends, type thing. And maybe a less than a year into that, there was no boyfriend girlfriend thing. We're just friends. And then in a matter of 5 minutes, everything changed. It just changed. We never had to go on a date, never had to ask boyfriend, girlfriend, nothing. It just changed. And then, marriage-wise, this year be 52 years.
Congratulations.
Right? And then if you compound the year and a half or 2 years before that, then it's a long time. So I met her about almost the same time that I went to Mr. Hebler's studio, like on a timeline, like within a couple months. So she kind of understood, maybe even more than I did, how much karate meant to me, myself. Right? She knew. It's like, this is a major part of what he is and what he's going to do. So, like, from a true love perspective, she didn't want to pull me back from it. She wanted to give me the time to do it. That's what if you care about somebody, let them do what they want to do. She was not interested in what we do. She was just there to support all of us. Me and Mr. Rainey have been my students, and very supportive of the garage and all of that stuff. She became all their second moms, all that. And then, we had the kids, and then, they're kind of growing up. So she kind of wanted to do the waitressing thing because I could work the 8 to 5. She would work 5 to 11s. We never really needed a babysitter. So we did that thing. But when the girls got to junior high, it was back to school because she always wanted to be a teacher. So that requires schooling. So she went back to school at maybe like 28 years old, and went through bachelor's program, and then started teaching and went through the master's program, uh, working, being a mom or wife, full-time job, full-time student, crazy. And then all of a sudden, the master's quit. I mean, she graduated and didn't have anything to do. So for 10 years, her nose were in the books with straight A's, as an older gal and all this stuff. And she didn't know what to do. So during classes at home, I would see her head come out of the door and go back into the house. Like, head would come out, go back in the house. She didn't know what to do with yourself. Like, you've worked so hard, so long. Like, what do you do?
All of a sudden, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, time to come out. Let's do it. I need to do it. I said, well, this is where I'm at. I'm right here. So why don't you stand right there? I'll be together. That's why you're using. Because I always say, right? But it's perfect. Perfect. So she starts, and magnificent. It's like, holy, wow. Like, she starts going through the rank. It's like, wow. Like, on the level of a Dave Thompson type, so clean, so defined. It's like, wow, this is crazy. And then she had a training partner who was a really rough person. So that together it matched perfect. She was soft. This fellow had actually been shot probably 5 times, stabbed 7 times. But when they went, from white belt to third black together, every step of the way. It was good for him because it taught him softness. On her, it taught her toughness because he didn't lay off.
So it was a perfect blend.
Perfect blend. So they do all that, and then it's time for black. It's like, wow, what are we going to do? So I spent about $7,000 to bring in people I respect from everywhere. I brought East Coasters in that knew her, Albert Cornejo and Mivio. At the time, we were crossing paths, and he knew her. Like, I want him, Mr. Spigman at the time. We were doing the camps together, all of that. We need to bring him. Some of John Sepulveda's fighters.
From Gintu, Benedict.
I invited Jerry Gintu because they crossed paths at Sepulveda's camps. Those types of people. I brought in AC. Got a hold of Mr. Hebler.
You got Mr. Hebler.
He came.
Oh,
it was awesome. The very first student I ever had from 1972, he came. So it was a really big thing. We had about 100 friends and family there to watch her. And
it's a special day when you test for black. When you test for black in that situation, it
was incredible.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of belt tests. From overseas to West. This was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Both, the tenacity part, the prettiness, like how you can look so good. And then, of course, with Ron, he's going to put her through the grill in the fighting part. Because he's a fighter. It's like, the whole thing was really, really cool. It's like, wow. And then I had a guy, like, sometimes you'll get questions that will throw you for a little bit of a loop when you're not expecting it. Like, let's say that he's camp where you blessed teach that you might, some like little blue belt might come up to you and say, Jim, you have any regrets about karate? it'll catch you off guard because you're thinking about having a Guinness afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this kid goes, "You have any regrets with what you do?"
He asked you this.
Yeah, color belt. Like, ooh,
One of your
No.
students? Okay.
or just as a seminar somewhere. Like, like I don't know. I go see you at dinner and I'll figure it out. Because I don't want to lie to him. So I found I go, there's tooth. He goes, "You got two regrets about karate?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What's the first one?" I go, "The first one is my dad never saw me do karate. My dad died when I was a little teenager." I go, "I think he would have got a kick out of it. Just the talent side of it. Just, the being a blessed athlete doing what we do." Because he was an athletic guy. Because my dad sees me here. I go, "That's good. That's a good thing." He goes, "What's the second one, Dad?" I go, "The second one is I wish Mr. Parker would have seen Mrs. Dunn. That would have been a kick. Because if she would have been able to start with me, she would have been his first female black. There were no women. Actually, Charmaine, that tested with me, was the first female black. And Patty would have been right there. So, to give the folks an insight, remember, talking about Mr. Parker is not factoid. Factoids are facts. You want to try and tell a story that goes outside of facts. It's hard to do. I try and do it almost every time in lessons about Mr. Parker himself without facts, right? So it'd be like me asking, "Tell me about your dad," right? The easiest way to do it is tell facts. He was born here. He went to school here. He graduated college here. He was in the certs. Those are facts. Doesn't tell me about your dad.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So this book, I'll give you a story about this book, the one, and then I'll tell you another story about a Friday night line night, because Parker would come on Friday nights to hang out.
Come where?
To Pasadena.
Pasadena.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the Friday night thing, right? So one night, we're doing the Friday night line. Parker comes in, and Patty would sit on the catwalk on the bench and watch the Friday night line, right? And usually Jenny and Lisa were there, but they're doing their coloring books and whatnot because they're about 6 and 8. Okay. So Patty's here and Parker sits right here. So, of course, I'm really going to stand on the gas now because Parker's watching. I'm going to stand on the gas, right? So it's, each technique is 30 moves long and boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then it finally gets to the point where you're driving home. So now we're in the car, we're driving home. Hey, what cool things did Mr. Parker say about me? What did he like? I did a lot of stuff. And she's like looking at me in the car. It's like, oh, this would make bad news because she's not saying anything. I go, I had to look good. I go, you had to say some stuff. She goes, no. I go, I worked out for an hour and a half and he said nothing, not one thing about anything. She goes, no. I was heartbroken. Like, what are you talking about? I go, what do you guys talk about for an hour and a half? We talked about Jenny. We talked about Lisa. We talked about kindergarten. And he wanted to know how I was doing in college. So you have a group of his black belts, Roger Meadows being one of his old timers, doing his own art form right in front of him. And he is talking to the girls about their kindergarten work and her about going back to school. You see what I'm saying?
It's contrary to what you think he'd be talking about.
Yep. it tells you about him. It's like there's a deeper side to him.
regarding martial arts. And like you said, there's much more to him than just martial. There's the family man, there's the educated man, there's the lovable person. There's a lot. We could go on about it. We're just talking about martial arts. Nobody, in my experience, in my opinion, and I've studied a lot of different martial arts and trained in them, nobody's put a curriculum together like Ed Parker. Like, just think of the names alone. And I know there was contributors to that, of course, yeah. But still, I mean, the way it's laid out, the way it's set up, his intention, like when you go back to the 50s when he was first starting out, where like this became like this is a massive organization with thousands and thousands of people. I mean, it brings multicultures together. And of course, the international. Let's talk a little bit about the
He
international.
was putting cultures together. Wasn't there yet. But the IKC, those things kind of helped that thing, and by the mid 70s, let's say for sure, then he was branching out. People start to go outside, Mexico, the Chile, then, the Irish connection. And yeah, it kind of became this, like, it's going to go bigger than what we think. He would have no idea how big it is now. Like, he wouldn't survive. We would kill him. There's no way he'd get to every place and see everybody. It's so massive compared to
Back then.
early 70s. It wasn't that big. Like
Now, what was the first year you attended the IKC?
72.
What was your,
Right.
take us back to
Right.
your first impressions.
Um,
Because I'm sure you heard about this tournament that had launched Bruce Lee in a sense in the Western world and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. What were your impressions?
the first year, you're too new. Because you're kind of like a novice, I guess, sort of. So you walk in, it's just a bunch of noise and people and rings and concrete and yelling and all this madness. It's like, and then you kind of focus things. You got to fight. Like it's, you don't even know how that's gonna go. Yeah, it's my first. It was actually my first tournament period with IKC. It's like where you go, how you line, all that stuff. The sensors are pretty overwhelmed on the first way. And of course, on the second one, then you're kind of more what to expect. And then, of course, by the time you get ranked, now your duties are something else, stuff about giving back. And then, the officiating and, it's just kind of changing and kind of a slow progress, you know. The sports changed, so the kids can argue that forever, however that's going to wash out, that the style of tournament fighting is different. So you can't say that the black belts of the 70s are better than the guys now or vice versa. What you might be able to draw a conclusion on looking at this, like the sport of it. Let's say we take like Benny's family fighting or the Bob White surfers fighting or the BKF fellows fighting, the Norris guy, Matilda Dad, and all those guys. I think the hitting was harder
Back then.
Oh, yeah, only because they were more grounded. The kids nowadays, they just kind of bounce and kind of flip the hand over the top. I'm not really not sure it's going to hurt anybody. I'm not sure. But if you look at those fellows, they're more grounded, kind of like more like a boxer's planted and shooting. But, those guys can argue that fact. But we kind of saw those fellows in the early days. I kind of tell my students that I was really blessed at the time period because we actually saw the real masters. Like the Yamashitas, Ted Taburas, they were still performing demos for Mr. Parker at the time.
Yeah, you had.
So we got to be right there, and they're doing the apples. I had applesauce on me. I was in the front row. And these things were exploding with the blindfold. Yamashita doing his things like, wow, it is pretty cool stuff. And then, I was blessed to see, Sanders fight. I saw Norris on like his last fight. I saw Bennett fight as a brown ball, for crying out loud. So it was blessed to be there, to see those gifted people do their thing. And then, of course, forms competitor, Bayern, even Paulie Sink, all the legendary people do forms. It's like, wow, these people are really cool stuff, man. Nice stuff. It was a good time period. IKC got pretty big. They say, there's 60 or 70,000. There wasn't that many, but Long Beach Arena was the 2/3 full for sure.
But for its time,
Big. That's big. Big. Yeah, there really wasn't that many high school tournaments at the time. I mean, there were, but you had Aaron Banks in the Battle of Atlanta.
yeah, Aaron Banks. Then you had Trias had one.
Yeah, and then, of course, Castro had us up north with Parker's was the benchmark. Like, you could hold your own there. It was a thing.
So moving ahead, how did the garage get born? Because it is your Kenpo studio.
Yep.
And how did that come about? Was that an intentional thing, or just you had a garage and started training people? How did it like?
It started with Dave knocking on the door, opening up the garage, and then friends of his, relatives of his, they can how that goes. Because karate was kind of like the UFC is now. I mean, it was everybody wanted to try. Yeah, bring them over. Yeah, bring them over. So it's kind of one of those things. And then, by the time I had 30 people, it's like, okay, so we need to do things the right way and do curriculum, and you guys need to rank the right way and just how it should be. And, by 74, 75, it was already established. It's like it was, Dave would have been there in 74. So me and Patty opened our house in 1974 to people to come over.
52 years.
Yeah, and there's still people. How many generations worth, I'm not sure. Dave's got probably 3 or 4 complete black belt generations under him. So I probably have 7 generations of people, I guess you would say, like, through the time period, I guess.
But your standard's very high, which is how it should. Pretty high standard. You have a very high standard, and you're known for rock solid, hard hitting Kenpo Karate. You've also captained and had a number of demo teams that you would go and demonstrate at different events. And in 2013, you captained the Kenpo Dream Team for Extra Bob White, which I was one of the members of that.
That's correct.
How did that come about?
It came about, I remember the phone call. Me and Bob had already been pretty connected because of the RFK. So the Royal Family Kids, which is on year 20 now, I was the first phone call. So Vishal and Bob called me first and said, we're having this, and this. We want you to teach. And if you don't mind donating the funds to children, like, where'd when we get it done. So there was already sort of a connection with that. And I'd known Bob since 1972, at the tournament. I competed at his tournaments years ago. There's a connection. So he has actually one of his first generation black belts, Mr. Sagun. His son Philip was just a blessed human being athletically. So, of course, he went through the ranks of the Kenpo thing, but Kenpo's, it's so simple. He needed complexities. So he went to the Shaolin Temple twice for 2 different steps in China and went through the whole arduous thing of the temple. Then he came back stateside, and then he ended up opening a business in Las Vegas.
So we're talking about Philip Sahagan.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. So that is the connection between the temple, the abbot, and Mr. White, because Philip and his father still have ultimate respect for Mr. White. So there was contact made, the way Bob explained to me, contact was made between the abbot, Philip, and the abbot wanting to see some type of other martial art at the convention center, right? So Bob called me. So we went down for lunch. I said, what's up? He goes, got a unique thing. He goes, I don't know if I can pull it up. But what is it? He goes, well, the abbot of the Shaolin temple's coming stateside. He's going to tour the United States. And they have this festival in Los Angeles. It was all kind of new to me. I don't know. It's like, oh, whatever. He goes, they're saying that they want to see Kenpo at the Chinese festival. Like, okay. He goes, from what I understand, it's never happened before. He goes, in the thousands of years, the abbot has never allowed anything outside of his own people at the festivals. He goes, so this is a first. It's like, what do you want? He goes, well, Bill's been telling me that they don't hit one another. Okay. He goes, I want hitting us, each other. And I want us hitting pads to make noise. You know, those type of things. Like, okay, who you want on it? Like, what kind of representation do you want? He goes, I want forms people, I want technicians, and I want fighters, and I want maybe some people that will do some weaponry, and people who can pound the pads. It's like, okay, so let's pencil and paper, let's see what we got. Basically, the way I phrased it to the people is, you guys are the best of the best. Here's what we're looking for. Prepare it. I trust you. So when we get there that morning, we'll do a run through and we're good. That's kind of how I phrased it to everybody. And when everybody showed up, they were ready. Like, yeah, they're ready to go. We did a run through just to kind of find the order, how we want to display it, like how, you know, it's like how we want to display it. That was kind of the only thing. I still didn't know how big this thing was till Bob told me the day before. The abbot had the president of the United States and him had dinner together. Like, oh, I mean, I didn't know he was that big of a VIP thing.
Right. Yeah.
I go, the day before? He goes, yeah. He goes, he's just flying in. It's like, what kind of crowd are we expecting? But I was thinking maybe a couple. He goes, about 10,000. Like,
It was huge.
I go, serious? Because they're saying maybe between 5 and 10,000. It's like, okay. You know, it's like, you know, I called you. It's like, told you the same thing.
Yeah.
Just be ready.
Be ready, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I remember the call.
And then, in your opinion, you agree everybody's ready to go that day?
Everybody was primed and ready to go. But isn't that how we're meant to be as a martial artist?
It is.
You're not, you know, I mean.
But you shoot movies. I mean, you got to rehearse and camera. I mean, it's the day. It's, yeah, we're not doing it in front of a high school. This is in front of the
but you and Miss Hobai did pick a great team. Everybody was the best at what they were doing. Really, they were. And of course, there's more people you could have put, like it's endless. You could have put you could put another 20 people on there.
Yeah.
But of course, there had to be a limited number because it was a limited amount of time. We didn't have a long time up there.
No, we overshot our time.
Yeah, what did we have? Did we have 30 minutes?
Well, you guys were doing your thing. I was getting bent on the side because this guy was telling me to get the team off the stage. Like, we ain't leaving till I say we're leaving. And I was over here on the side. You just like, no.
And the demonstration you did with Dave Thompson, just phenomenal.
Fun.
It was just phenomenal. Yeah, and yeah. And then we did Mario for a few years. We did probably 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, we did.
We did quite a few.
And some of them for good reasons.
Yeah, some were for the Wild Family Kids. There was a few other for Freyo's medical fund.
Yeah, we did the medical fund thing. And I wanted to go back and kind of maybe show another side of Mr. Parker that might kind of show people how he is as a person without the facts. The Infinite Insight books, at the time, this of course towards the later years of his life, was probably maybe his like ultimate goal. Like, Red Book, it was what it was, but this was a life's work kind of put in a format where people would look, refer to, all of that. They hadn't come out yet, right? So we were at Pasadena School and the books had just come in. Like, oh, this is cool, right? And it was one of the nights he came in. It's like, what's a book? And Ford book, but I like a book. So, book, can I have one? Yeah, you can have it. Great. I got my book. So, ooh, maybe you could sign it. That would be cool, right? So we go to work out on the mat. He's in the office. I take it out. Could you sign my book? Yeah, I sure I'll sign it. I'll give it to you and you're done now. So now we're doing karate. So you don't, when you're all changed out and you're ready to go home, you don't want to go grab the book in front of everybody and open it up. You don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? But it's like, I can't wait to see what kind of cool stuff he says about him there, right? Like, it's like everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't open it. Don't be that guy. Act cool. It's like, yeah, whatever. So we get in the car, right? And, Patty's on your passenger seat. We're going out of the parking lot. We're heading towards 210 freeway. I go, open the book, man. What do you say? And she opens the book. She gave me that same look she did. Right. If you're kidding. She goes, no. She goes, is it good? What is it? She goes, to Jenny and Lisa, best in life, Ed Parker. He signed it to my girls instead of me because he would visit with them every Friday, right? So here's this big old macho grandmaster guy, right? Instead of giving it to me, the kids.
That's beautiful.
I know.
Yeah.
But if, let's say, a young black belt now wouldn't quite understand who he really was, if we just tell me like Chinese Buddhist studio and passing, they wouldn't know him. Like, yeah, he had the kids and he was married. Those, they don't know. It's like,
Well, just for the audience, the Infinite Insights 1 through 5, and every Kenpo practitioner, instructor, doesn't matter where you are, what standard you're at in Kenpo, everybody should have, every Kenpo practitioner and martial artist should have these on their shelves. Would that be correct?
if you can find them, definitely worth your while to have them if your career is just beginning or if you're a lifer and you really kind of want to know what Mr. Parker was. Or, like, some people want to know what it was like to get taught by him. These will help you. Because the same stories he would share with us are in there.
And they're an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's is there. So it's almost like you're getting a lesson from him, sort of. He taught with analogies. So his method of teaching was to use analogies. Those analogies are right in there. So yeah, they're great. They're awesome.
And then about 12 years ago, you appeared in The International Journey by Mr. Tom Bleeker. And how did that come about? What was the approach for that? Because this is like, if you want to get info on some of the most prominent Kenpo instructors in the world, I mean, this is a great read.
Mm-hmm.
And so what, he just called you up and said, "Oh, I'm doing this. I want you in it." Is that how it went down?
No. The call I got first was from Bob White. And I went down for lunch. The original book had come out, which I kind of did an interview for that, didn't make that one. But he wanted to know my opinion about being recognized in that book. Like, yeah, sure, quite a compliment. And then he goes, let me talk to Mr. Bleeker and see how it's going to go, how it works. So a little bit later, Tom called me in. He goes, this is how I have to do it so I can put it in something like this. Meaning he has to set up an interview and then a set of questions. And, you got to assemble your photographs and, those type of things. But to be recognized with anybody in there's just...
Well, it's an absolutely excellent write-off on you. It's about approximately 10 pages.
Yeah.
And here's an excellent picture of yourself with Mr. Thompson or Mr. Parker.
Yeah.
Where was that taken?
This was at Pasadena when Dave got brown.
Excellent.
Dave got brown. Yeah, Dave got brown in front of Mr. Parker. Then he got black in front of Mr. Parker, which I know for him is very important. He used to get
some fabulous pictures. This is your garage. Am I correct?
Yeah, that was Patty's black belt test. So those are the fellows I was mentioning that.
Here I have the entire panel. You have Dave Thompson. A whole host of people here.
Yeah.
Albert Cornejo.
Yep. Mr. Hebler's in there somewhere, probably hidden by the tall guys.
Jack Autry's back there.
Todd Durgan.
Todd Durban. Where is Mr. Hebler? Here he is back here.
There he is, being hidden.
Beside Dave Thompson.
Yeah. And Albert
Cornejo.
Yeah.
A.S.C. Rainey.
Anto, the brother, I believe. I thought Barbara was there. That was for her brown, I think. Mrs. Hale.
Gerald Gintu.
Yeah. By Cappy from PA.
That's just a great picture of you and Patty. It's just a great group shot, period. And here's Jim Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yourself and Mr. White.
Yeah.
And this is in Ireland. Now that
was a 90s. That's 96 or 7.
I think it's 96.
Somewhere in there.
I think it's 96, yes.
Yeah. Just grandboy.
It's the same kids.
These two are the Kenpoists. He's wrestler. My very first student way back in the Hebler studio days.
Now, was this picture taken in Ireland or was it England? Because Gary Ellis.
You know what I'm thinking? That's 2000 at Gary Ellis's camp. Maybe.
I think you're maybe right. I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, actually, at that camp, it was one of the first times we did a Q&A session.
It's just a fabulous picture.
Yeah, that was shot in Idaho, actually, the picture.
It's a great photo.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of these in the series. You have the first journey, which is the first generation black belts. And of course, there's kind of a crossover. You got some people who were kind of mentioned in the first one, but then they're in this one. This is the international journey, which is basically instructors everywhere. And then you have the third version, which are the later generation of instructors.
And I think that cover is by Julian McDermott, I think.
I believe it is.
Yes. Kenpo's designed the cover.
I believe, yeah, Julian is one of Eddie Downey's black belts in Ireland.
Yeah.
And so to go back a little bit, what was your first impressions of Mr. Parker? When you first started to really lock into Kenpo and realize what he was about?
I remember seeing him the first time. I was scared. Probably in the first 10 or 11 months. I was so embedded with, my instructor, there really wasn't anything but sleep and then this. So really didn't cross paths with Mr. Parker till that first really IKC first annual thing. And I think I was a purple or a blue belt, as a competitor. But when you're at that stage and you see how many people are there and they're there for Mr. Parker, you realize the enormity of the personality. It's like, then you're starting to maybe see the future. It's like, this guy's, obviously I respect them, they're there. So that was kind of the first, it's like, who is this guy really? That type thing. And then, by the time the brown belt thing, it's like, you've talked to him, you've sat in his office, like, but still you're only, I made brown in 10 months. So you're really only there at 10-month times. Like, it's hard to really know. And then maybe after, you get the black belt and you're with him a little bit more, then more of an understanding of just a multifaceted. He's a person, just like we are. Patty was always fascinated. Before she started training, she was fascinated because he would walk in the dojo and everyone would salute like he's some god, that type thing. But to her, he was just a friend.
Well, that's an interesting point to make, because that was done out of respect,
Right.
And one instructor that really has upheld that was Mr. White. Even when I would walk into a school, he would stop the class, everybody would turn around and salute, and he did that for everybody that came through his doors. Now, do you think that's been lost along the route somewhere? I don't see it in every school. I certainly don't see it enough. But is it just times change, or is it instructors? One thing I notice about Paul Dye Kenpo is that the basics are rock solid. And I remember having a conversation with Chuck Sullivan and Tom Bleeker here a few weeks ago. And they said back then, when the curriculum was smaller, before it became this massive curriculum, they did basics and basics and more basics and more basics. And the basics are the platform for being good or not
In
anything. Is that lost today?
It's probably not done as much as like Mr. Bleeker and Mr. Sullivan's day, I guess. We did a lot of them at the studio when I first started. The classes were sort of structured based on what Mr. Parker learned from the dance studio concept. So the group class.
What was the dance studio concept?
Arthur Murray's dance studio. How do you teach dance and make it a business? Like, how does it work? Like, what does the student need? They researched and found out that they need 30 minutes with a private teacher. they need so many hours of group lessons. I mean, if it was a model, I guess you would say. So, in the early 70s, if you ran a group class, it was like 15 minutes of basic structure, just basic things. And then you had so many minutes of form application, so many minutes of technique application, you had so many minutes of sparring, and then one more set of basics, and then you would close class. I think the martial art went through a phase that basics were too boring, maybe. Like, it is sort of boring, but needed. Like, here's what I tell, let's say, my younger students. Here's what you were going to do. I go, do you know what time Dodger Stadium opens up? They go, what kind of question is that? That was question. When the stadium opens up? 4:30. That's where we're going to go. 4:30. They go, well, the game's not till 7. I know, but you're going to learn something. So we go to the ballpark, either Angels or Dodgers, at 4:30. For 45 minutes, visitors get the field. 45-minute structure. So I go, what are they doing? They're stretching. Some guys are jogging. The infielders are taking infield. Batting coaches hitting fungos. Is that the same stuff they did in Little League? They go, it looks pretty basic. I go, are these professional athletes? Yeah. Are they still doing basics of baseball? Yeah. Home team gets 45 minutes. They all disappear. They change from the workout clothes to the uniforms. Now it's game time, right? So what you guys now realize is their whole lives, even though they're making $50 million a year, every day, ground balls, fly balls, batting practice, the same as they do when they're 8 years old. So what I'm telling you is that when I have you in horse stances and neutral bows, they would be doing the same thing in their sport. So do I still kind of like doing that? Yeah. Because it sort of feels good. It's like, and it's required. It's like you need to. Maybe some of that's dissipated a little bit. So the example would be the old belt tests, like the fellows you've had already. Like Mohammed could tell you, like West LA's, when belt test was happening, there was a lot of basics. We've been on hundreds of belt tests now, and 5 minutes of basics, that's all we get. And it's on to something else. So that kind of tells you maybe it's dissipated a little bit.
One of the things that I've noticed is that I think a lot of the time the main instructor just gets busy because you have more than one school. He's overseeing a number of things. But what is really important, I believe, is that the instructor you put in charge of your class or classes needs to uphold the standard that the head instructor hopefully has already set. A lot of the time, and not just in martial arts, it can happen it can happen in baseball. I mean, you get a coach and he's managing 2 teams, or something. He's just like, okay, you're just going to work them on the basics here for 20 minutes, and I'll be back, and then we're going to go through whatever. But while he may or may not be very passionate and very good and hold a high standard, the person you put in your place has got to be equal or more. And I think I found people say, well, you have, if we do this, we'll lose this amount, that amount. I think if you set a standard from day one, well, you lose a few probably, but you lose a few anyway. People come and go, and then you'll have that handful or more that stay. They're rock solid. Right. But I think if you set a standard from day one, like a high, good standard, And even kids, they're well aware of what you're looking for. They're capable of delivering. But if you let that standard, if you set this standard down here, and then you try to go to here, that's, I think, a problem.
Yeah.
Because people get accustomed to a way of doing something, and then all of a sudden now you be asking for a lot more. That takes people with character to want to go there. But not everybody's made up of that character.
It's Tracy.
Now, one thing I notice about you have that character and you uphold that standard. Like like long before I knew you, I mean, I knew who you were when I was a young fella through Eddie Dallin. But long before I had met you or knew you, we saw everything was a high standard. And even to this day, everything's a high standard. When you captained the dream team, everything was, you were very specific. This is what I want, Bob, on this world. Very calm and relaxed, but when people deal in my experience, when people deal with Paul Guy, they deal with a professional. You're very relaxed and calm. There's no yelling, no screaming. I mean, when you demo, yeah, I'm talking about when you're setting something, but you're very specific, and everybody gets that message and respects it. And I think you command that respect by being you. Even when you taught at Eddie's camp last year, I remember thinking, and I recorded, Mr. Dye's same old Mr. Dye.
Yeah, I try to still get older, but like the Dream Team demo, right? I went down to Vob's twice. Once for the idea of it and selecting, and then another time I went down to like progress report and who's kind of maybe do what, this, that, whatever, because you're missing somebody. And I went into panic mode. It's like, dude, I don't want you. I want probably. You're doing something, right? I go, and you taught me to do something? I go, okay. Yeah. Yes. So that's why I went out and did short 3. Like, not dead yet. Maybe soon, but do something. Right? So like at Eddie's place, at least do something for the people. Because that's what we lacked a little bit. As like for me anyway.
Who's we?
I always, you really wanted to see Mr. Parker move. Just do something. It was really rare. I mean, like, yeah. So I never wanted to go on the road and not just lecture or talk. Like, we're a physical thing, so let the people see what your talent is. We can talk about it after the fact, but let's put some zip in it and get her done, so to speak. Yeah, I still like doing that.
What does the future hold from Hall Dye and Kenpo Karate?
The one, I don't know if I'm on my last generation or not. I got a group now that's mid-range. They're not mid-range in time to black, but they're in that blue-green. And then I still do the old 32, so they're doing long curriculum. So by the time they're green, they know everything. But I don't know if I'll start anymore. If light belts in it or not, and I'm not sure. If I can get this group through the brown and through the black would be nice. They put in some time. Be nice to get them all the way. And like anything else, you feel things. The there's arthritis that you start feeling, and you're definitely not 20. You're well over 70. But you don't want to let the standards slip. Like, I don't want to, like, as an athlete, I'm sure Tom Brady didn't want to retire. He'd have to because of physicality. You can tell the way he announces he's so excited. It's a sport. You don't want to leave the sport. It's like, but I just don't know if I want to. Been for over 50 years, I've been committed to my house for Tuesday, Thursday nights. It's like, Jenny and Lisa's like, those 2 nights they put themselves to bed from when they were born. When they left the house on Tuesday, they knew where I was going to be at your problem. You need to put yourself to bed. You know how to do it. Just get it done. I'm going to be out there teaching people. And it's a big commitment. And it's been that way the whole time. I hadn't missed a class for, it must have been like 30 years. And I remember Dave Thompson, I had a fever. It was 103. Massively sick. So I told Kygo, just lay me in the garage. Just lay me in there and put the pillow on the floor. I'll teach in a fetal position on the floor. Choose your brain up. I go, I don't care. You never leave a student dessert. So she laid me down in bed on a floor, and as students start coming, Dave goes, what are you doing? Oh, sick. Really sick. Because he'd carry you into bed. It goes, you, for 30 years, you've never, ever treated you or your family to a vacation. He goes, it's time. He goes, we're grown up. We'll survive. It's kind of like that. Like, do I want to maybe take some time off? Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Well, in my experience with your students that I've interacted with, you have a few that are quite capable of stepping up to the plate, and that's thanks to you.
yeah, I don't know. I did have to take some time off the international because I ended up with the claustrophobia thing. And I couldn't fly. That hurt me because I missed the friends. I worked real hard on trying to get help to get out of that. So I was able to make the last couple of years the trip, which was great because I missed the people, and I think what you'll find is you never know what kind of influence you have. You don't know where it's going to stick. It's like, you don't know. If it comes out of left field, it's like following day, Dave was running a class. It was his fifth and above class. I'm going to go watch my student teach an international class. How cool is that? My God. I bowed in just like normal, and everybody just kind of stopped and looked. I go, what's everybody looking at? They go, you're going to teach too? No, I'm a student. So let's rock. Let's go. As a person, let's just do our sport and have a good time, right? But sometimes how you affect people's pretty big. Sometimes you don't even know. They don't tell you. So that's that physicality part. I don't want to lose that.
You won't lose that. That's not going to happen. It's like you said to me when Jing won, my little guy tested for his black belt last year. You said you have changed that kid's life forever.
Forever.
He's going to look up to you forever.
In everything.
Yeah.
Not just visor.
And I didn't think of it in those terms consciously. He was just a kid I know when I'm training him. It's like I'm not thinking of any ego thing on my side. I'm just giving him something in my head, But when you said that to me, I thought about it. And oh gosh,
me and Patty had an enlightening thing New Year's Day.
This past New Year's.
Yeah. It was actually New Year's Eve the day. She had a doctor's appointment, right? So I drive her to the doctor's appointment. 4th floor, right? No problem. Doctor's appointment over. Come down the elevator. Elevator's door open. We're going to go out the doors to the parking lot. Are you Paul Dye? Yes. He goes, can I introduce myself to you? Yeah. I have no idea who this person is. Like, I have no idea. He goes, my name is so-and-so. Shake hands. It was nice to meet you. He goes, we've already met. Like, oh, wow. I'm stuck. Because I don't remember. Now you're in panic mode. It's like, I go, when? He goes, 1972. I go, 72? He goes, yeah, I was 12. Dave Hebler's studio? Like, oh my God. It's like, wow. He goes, you were my first teacher.
So you remember him right away.
Didn't remember him. He was a boy. Now he's, of course, he was 6'8", played NBA basketball. You saw this kid. Yeah, play NBA and European basketball. He's an architect. He goes, do you have, or he goes, have you ever heard of a bucket list? I've heard the term. He goes, I have one. He goes, you're on him. He goes, I never thought I would see you again. And here you are. He goes, can I hug you? Wow. Sure. He goes, let me tell you something. He goes, I'm successful. He goes, I have no money worries. I would have nothing if you hadn't to spend 4 months alone. I cried, you cried, Patty cried. All you're doing is five sort of, you know what I mean? You're just doing what we like to do.
But you never realize the effect you're having on somebody.
He didn't stay forever. He only stayed for like 6 months. So even if you're with a person just 6 months, there can be an effect.
And make it a positive.
He goes, I would never have played professional basketball. He goes, I wouldn't have had the desire to become an architect. He goes, I was nothing. And he goes, you would just talk to me after class and just tell me things. Like, dude, I was only like 18. He goes, didn't matter. Because I looked at you like my dad. He goes, I listened to everything. I go, I just lived in my car. He goes, I didn't care. He goes, what you said to me was important. Like, he goes, could I come to the garage someday? Hell yeah. I go, if you would fit in it, because you're so tall. It's like, he goes, I would just love to stop by. He goes, do you still do karate? I go, why don't you come over and find out?
He was probably your first student. Or one of the very first group of people you were working with. So it just goes to show you, you know, it's like the message in that is always try and give somebody something of value, even if you only have 5 minutes with them, because you never know how that's going to come benefit them in their life. And you know, there's nothing greater. You know, we all have our own way of looking at things, and we're all allowed to have that. But I see so many people turn people away because of money. In the past, or throughout life, and I'm like, I could never allow money to be that important to me. Yeah, it's important to have money. You know, we need, yeah, of course. But, you know, you meet somebody that don't have money. Why turn them away because they don't have money?
I never accepted money.
Yeah.
52 years. Never been paid by anybody.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons,
I don't know if it's good or bad, but
it's not about good or bad, but it's legit. Because there's many people who put money before everything. And I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying anybody should work for free, but it's not the only thing that's important. Sometimes you meet somebody, or here and there you meet maybe over a lifetime. You could meet several people, but it's over a lifetime. Come on in. You don't have money. Okay, come on in. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's nothing, for me personally and professionally, there's no greater feeling than to be able to give. but it's not a conscious thing. It's like in hindsight, you go, well, I was able to do that. That's nice. It's not like you're doing it consciously for some self-fulfillment. It's like you're doing it because that's who you are.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. It's like, come on in and train.
And we're just, meaning us as Kenpos, we're just doing what we like to do. And the influence can be ginormous.
Yeah.
And you don't know it's happening. A lot of times we don't realize, like with this story, we don't realize that this kid never said anything to me. So I didn't know, I didn't know.
You have one message for the Kenpo community and young people in Kenpo today. What would it be?
Well, there's a couple, I guess. One is art specific, I guess. So it's a physical thing. It'd be like a dancer or an acrobat or gymnast. It's a physical display. So sometimes Kenpo gets a bad name because of all the slapping and missed targets and missed blocks and slap norms, right? So the new generation, you do have a little monkey that sits on your shoulder. And any credible martial artist of any other system that's credible, if they're credible, and they see that facsimile of a Kenpo patch on you, your t-shirt or your uniform, they're going to laugh at you. They're not going to laugh in the face. They're going to laugh as you go by. And they're laughing because you just slap. So, individually speaking, you need to knock the monkey off your back. The only way that happens is you have to display your art form in such a way that goes away. So the generations, the 20 or 30-year-olds that are wearing black belts now that are leaders are going to lead physically. Do that. So that misnomer is not representative of you, per se. And then the other one is the more traditional thing. It's like we were given a gift by our instructors. So all of us had teachers, and people that put us on a path to do what we do. Hopefully that continues, because we just, in the last couple of years, we found out people are passing pretty fast. We're at that point. So it would be now up to those folks, whether they're in a Hawkins camp, a Dye camp, a Speakman camp, or Chipotle camp, or Wild White's camp. Like, those leaders need to progress and keep working, or their teachers' work subsides. Just like we all would have stopped, Mr. Parker's work would have subsided. We don't want that to happen. So all of us, I think, are always searching for, is there one student that will take our life's work and move forward, right? So I was kind of blessed that, of course, it's a long time because Dave's older, but he definitely took my life's work and moved it forward in a good way, and with multi-generations of black belts who have then created black belt, who have then created a black belt. So I actually have, as legitimate as can be, a great grand black belt, like 4 generations removed. So my work will probably be okay. That's kind of what you're hoping for. So the young people in our 20s and 30s, if they can be 70 years old and have 1 or 2 people that have taken their work, meaning those people, and moved it forward, that's what we need that to happen. Otherwise, it's going to go away. I guess the good thing is Kenpo's so big now that they're definitely not going away. It's more, I guess, how how good will we be? Like, as artists, like, will they, kind of like what you were saying, things might be, you know what I mean? It's like, will they keep the standard, whatever their standard is, whatever their thing is? You know, like, but yeah, it's a lot of years, man.
Mr. Dai, an honor and a privilege.
Vice versa,
My own company.
I appreciate
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.